Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on Stay Curious. I'm your host, Mark Marquette, and we've got a quick program for you today about space history going on today. A lot of little tidbits. Who's orbiting Earth, and who's going to replace them on the International Space Station and the Tiangong Chinese Space Station. And we're going to talk a little bit about has life been discovered on Mars again? I know it's there. You all know it's there. I think scientists have found all the ingredients and the elements for life on Mars. They just want to see those little roly-polies or blind crickets come out of the cave so they can verify it perfectly. But we'll see what was in the news about Mars yesterday. And oh my gosh, that weird comet. Trust none of what you see unless of what you hear on this Facebook, social media stuff, okay? I'll show you what's going on with that weird comet from another solar system. So, welcome everybody again. My co-producer, Marty Winkle. Thank you for being here, Marty. We've done, as the board says, 1,350 some episodes of Stay Curious, born out of the pandemic to reach out to school children first. We didn't know it was going to happen 5 years ago. Nobody wants to talk about it, Marty, at all. And that 5 years went by quick. But this is what we did as an outreach to show people that supported our museum we weren't going to lay down during the pandemic. And we've caught on to a lot of you space geeks out there. Glad that you've joined us today. Let me hit my smart tablet and let's say hello. Reassuring that we are always live. Weird Comet and Life on Mars. There's RG Rosalie Jubilee. And thank you. Glad that you're joining us. And we know we've become a bit of a little social time for all you out there. And we appreciate your banter back and forth. Just keep it to the topic and enjoy our little program today. And I'm going to try to get out of here in 35 minutes or so. Marty says that'd be a miracle. But we've got to get over to Melbourne and set up for Mr. Jay Honeycutt is doing a program for us today that he will do on Stay Curious about Artemis, his views on the Artemis program and what it lacks, what it is good about it. So hope to see some of you at this tonight, okay? And there's little Mia. Hi, Mia. That's the International Space Station behind me there. And maybe you, little Mia, will go on a space station someday. And Nick's with you, and Dave Stangy's got his wife Julie there also. Julie, a lot of good property going for sale around here. Just saying, if you want to stay warm all winter long and enjoy the friendliness of our museum in Florida. So, and there's Dave Stangy. Yes, he's on there. Steve Jokums, thank you for joining us, and Tom Usiak. Carlton Bailey is going to be on the show tomorrow, right, Carlton? Yes, shake your head right. He's got some August payloads, unmanned payloads, and a couple of shuttles he's going to talk about. And thank you, Carlton. I'll get all that racked up and talk to you later. So let's kick it off here a little bit, folks, with who's orbiting Earth. That's going to be the tease that I'm going to give you right here. How many humans are orbiting Earth right now? So if you keep track of Stay Curious, you'll know right off the top of your head. But Marty, you know, right? Don't say it yet. But all right. And we're going to have our second Saturday of the month, bilingual STEAM education on pressure and sound. We've got a NASA worker coming to talk to, we hold it to about 15 kids. It's free, okay? And you can register there by hitting that QR code or going to our website or Facebook page. Lovely Natalia Sepulveda, who has a master's degree in Spanish. She's a Ron McNair Fellow grant recipient. Ron McNair, of course, lost his life in Challenger, so quite an honor for her, an honor for us to be that she's part of our museum. And October 11th, we're going to have the Spanish language in space, as it is Hispanic month goes from September 15th to October 15th. In November, our STEAM program is going to talk about being thankful for space spinoffs, something we do every November. And Robots in Space will be on December 13th. And so if you're local and got some elementary school children, we have a bilingual STEAM Saturday for you and some other events throughout the year. And we are going to crank up some urban stargazing from our parking lots this fall. Hey, have you heard the news? Yes, sirree. So many of you have, when I've glanced at Facebook, that anyone can add their name to fly on the 10-day mission of Orion and the Artemis 2 mission to be launched no later than April is the official NASA terminology. Register free at NASA's website. The agency will send your name with Artemis 2 on a disc. Nope, I didn't put the disc up there. Shoot, I downloaded it, but didn't put it up there. And I teased you with something space history there. This will be open through January 21st, 2026. So you've got, let's see, September, October, November, December, January. Heck, you got 4 months to get it in on there. After registering, participants can download a collectible boarding pass shown here, affirming that their name will be aboard the Mission Orion spacecraft. All of the names are stored in a flash memory card, which will be added to the Artemis 2 official flight kit, along with other commemoratives being flown by NASA and its partners. So, this is offering on many interplanetary spacecraft to Mars, most of the Mars landers. I've got my name on, family members and so forth. And Carlton, I saw your slide, and Carlton will be sharing who his family members are going to be on the Artemis 2 flight no later than April. They're thinking hopefully mid-February, quite possibly. So let's see. We've got the what is up next? Oh, yeah. Space history. You know we love it. All right. There's Ace Boogie Stacks. Glad you joined us. Robert Law in Dundee, Scotland. Elena in South Africa. CB says, yep, he'll wake up in time to come on in. And good afternoon to you, Tom Celentano. It's probably getting sweater weather up there in Connecticut. And I talked to our good friend Chris Calley today also, and he might pop in. So, yes, what a year ago, time flies, a year ago, and boy, I was mesmerized watching this image 1 year ago as Eric Isaacman did a stand-up extravehicular activity, just as the Dawn space, the Crew Dragon with the Dawn Polaris Dawn crew was riding around the Earth. Of course, Jared Isaacman was polled as the NASA administrator by President Trump, probably, he says, for his ties to Elon Musk. Elon Musk are both billionaires that are wanting to make an impact in space. But on this date, September 10th, 2024, a commercial space crew flew higher above the Earth than anyone who traveled to space since the Apollo days. They achieved an orbit of 746 miles high, about 15 hours after lifting off on June 10th, 2024. This doubled the maximum height of the space shuttle when it deployed the Hubble telescope over 350 miles, and surpassed the previous record by Gemini 11 of 853 miles. All right. They got up to 870 miles was their peak, and then they stabilized in an orbit 118 by 750 so they could get in some of the aurora and study it. So 3 other crew members were with Jared Isaacman. Do you remember Sarah Gillis and Anna Menon? And the 4th member was Scott Poteet. They actually were exposed to the elements of space, just like, let's talk about the Skylab astronaut one. Joe Kerwin asked me, he's not listed as getting a interior EVA. he was exposed to space when they opened up the hatch to try to on Skylab 1 crew with Pete Conrad and was it Weiss with him, Kerwin, and tried to pull apart with they had a fish hook. They had a big pole. They were trying to dislodge the uh, Skylab's solar panel. Well, do you remember that in space? Here they all are. Wanted to show you that while they're orbiting space. Isaacman's in the back there. I've heard him talk. Very engaging, very smart. Family man for sure. And what's happened to him in a year? He got nominated to be NASA's director. That got pulled. We've got sort of a temporary guy in there right now. And I guess shows you the priorities that the administration has of going back to the moon when you don't have a permanent administrator in there. But I'm not going to make comments about that. No siree. But here we got up in space for what we're up there 5 days, I think. A cool mission, and they're space tourists in a way, but they did some space science. How long was that mission? I think it was 5 days. And this was the first of 3 commercial missions planned by Isaacman to advance research and technology needed to send humans out to space, all right? Well, the Fram 2 is not part of his. That was another one. So he's not gone into space in a year, and he had some big plans to do it. So I tried to research it, but can't find out what's up with Jared Isaacman these days. Well, just wanted to give you a nice little view of one of our galleries, the women's gallery. Many of you have been inside of it. Those of you that haven't, we've got the handprints in bronze of left to right's Kathy Sullivan. There's Eileen Collins, and the most worn ones on the far right are Sally Ride. And what a privilege it is to have these 3 ladies' handprints in our museum, along with all the other men that are at Spaceview Park and the half dozen we have here, like Admiral Truly, of course, the Apollo 11 moonwalkers, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong are in here. Bob Crippen's hands are here in the museum. And on the wall are all the women who orbited the Earth, okay? And on that back wall, we're going to change that up a little bit, and we're going to put up there, we call them Carmenauts. And Don Thomas thinks we ought to have a little thing up there about space tourists, talking about astronaut Don Thomas. He does not like lumping all the astronauts, space tourists, Carmenauts, the suborbitals, and stuff together. And we think we're going to help keep in people's mind fresh what is an astronaut, what is a suborbital Carmenaut, and what is a space tourist, okay? 3 distinctions for sure. I'm with you, Don Thomas, 4-time shuttle flyer. That pink size small, no, I think that's a medium. Yeah, that is Eileen Collins's 1990 polo shirt that she signed, actually. And it has on there, they were the, not the Black Cats, they were her class was the Hairballs. It was the Hairballs. And they got kind of a Black Cat unique logo there that you're not going to see too many other places. NASA made them change it to something else. All right. A little bit of history, a little bit of fun, and get your ticket punched to Artemis 2. We got a birthday to talk about here. Birthday 1 or 2, all right? But this guy is very popular. You all know Mike Mullane. If you're not, you'll want to know Mike in his book here, Riding Rockets. A really laugh out loud book that when I read it many, many years ago. However, some NASA people kind of, they think it's really sensational and just sort of I've had a NASA VIP tell me it was just sort of like reading the Esquire magazine, just sort of tabloid news. But so just take that to tongue in cheek when you're reading this book. But Mike Mullane, very popular astronaut, 80 years old today, born in Wichita Falls, Texas. I've been to Whiskey Falls. September 10th, 1945, raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he resides. We wish the 3-time flyer Richard Mike Mullane a happy 80th birthday. Big 80. became an astronaut in 1979. Wait, let me go forward there. Flew on 3 space shuttle missions, 41D. All right, that was with our buddy Charlie Walker, and Judy Resnick was on that. And then August 84. STS-27 that he writes about in the book. They could have lost their lives. A lot of tile missing, an amazing burn through right at one of the girder sections, so to speak, of the shuttle. And STS-36, okay, in 1990. Mullane's an Air Force colonel, West Point graduate. His website, MikeMullane.com. You can book him. He charges a lot of money, or not a lot, I don't know what he charges. He charges as they all charge. So we might have him at a shuttle fest if he's attracted one time. A Vietnam combat pilot, 134 missions. He was in Vietnam in the Tan Son Nhut Air Base, January to November 69. And so his book, Riding Rockets there, The Outrageous Tales of a Space Shuttle Astronaut, published in 2006. And you'll love it when you read it. There he is. He's probably on the West Coast more than the East Coast, living in New Mexico. But happy 80th birthday, Big 80. All right, to popular astronaut Mike Mullane. Hope to see him at a shuttle fest someday. Hey, wait a minute. We got another birthday? That's right. I don't know much about this guy, but happy birthday to Mitch Rothman and his lovely wife Paula there. I forget where you're at, Mitch. There, I think that's in England. I think that might be an Apollo 8 space capsule in England. But I believe Mitch was born in New York. Don't have his bio or anything. I don't see his name on here. Okay, he's maybe heading back to Colorado now. He dual residence in Colorado and Florida here. Writing Rockets, says Amy Collins, was more truth than fiction, as much as it would make NASA cringe. Yeah, it did on some things in there for sure. Particularly the bathroom chapter on there will make you all cringe when you read that. But happy birthday, Mitch Rothman and Paula. Great supporters of our museum. They found us a few years ago. Man Space is Mitch's Facebook page that is awesome. Celebrates all the good old things before the shuttle, but he loves the shuttle too. So check out Man Space. Mitch has been on the show here many times. And if I was in town Monday, we probably would have got him on here to talk. But thank you, buddy, for all you do. And Paula, also financial supporters of our museum, and also on our Shuttle Fest committee to help us do it right all the way into the future. So happy birthday, Mitch Rothman. Well, let's get to who's in space for how long. Let's see, we got the Crew Dragon 10 dock, the Crew Dragon 11 dock there. All right. Bonus points. Tell us which vehicles those are. I'll bet. What the names of those vehicles there, Steve Jokums? I'll just ask him. Crew Dragon 10 and Crew Dragon 11. We lose sight of that, and I don't like the numbers. I wish they would put names on them, but that's all right. Then we got the Soyuz MS-27 that took 3 astronauts up there. When? I'll tell you in just a minute. Then we've got 2 cargo ships, Progress 91 and 92. They're stuffing Progress 92 with a bunch of trash and stuff to burn it up. That is where those 3 Russian vehicles there is where all the leaks are in the space station, because you've got your Zvezda, Zarya, and American Unity modules there that where they dock. So, well, Expedition 73 going on, and let's talk about who is on the space station. 10 humans orbiting the Earth right now. Hasn't changed since that I put this together August 15th. 638 humans have orbited the Earth. a clear designation of who you are, all right, as a space flyer. Have you orbited the Earth? And 84 of them are women. And we'll be adding another woman, but it's going to be a while, and I'll tell you when. So we've got 3 Chinese tachionauts on the Tiangong space station, and we have got 7 on the International Space Station. That 7 include 3 Americans, 3 Russians, and 1 Japanese. Okay. 1 woman is orbiting the Earth right now of the 10. All right. We had up to 3 women there when Zena Cardman added there. So let's quickly look at these space heroes of ours. Oh, wait a minute. Did you know there's an armadillo on the International Space Station, Marty? That's right. Not a live one, but Rupert the armadillo. Rupert is the mascot for the Cape Canaveral Space Museum, the Sands Museum, it's also called. And Jamie Draper's the excellent director of that. Congratulations to you, Jamie Draper, for winning the Kokum Award of the National Space Club. I was honored to be bestowed that last year. And he is a social media monster. I'm talking about Jamie Draper, a professional museum guy. I think he was over the Ford Museum in Michigan before he came down here, done a great job. And he branded Rupert the armadillo as the mascot of Cape Canaveral over there. There, my phone's going on, but I'm not going to answer that. Is that you, Jamie, correcting me about something? But yes, Rupert was taken up to the International Space Station by Spanky. Okay, I'll tell you who Spanky is here in a minute. Astronaut nicknamed Spanky. They have not gotten him out of the suitcase or whatever Rupert went up there yet, because they've not shown any pictures of him in space. And last time I talked to Jamie, I said, when are we going to see pictures of Rupert floating in space? And he in the space station, he said, it'll be coming. But Spanky told me, you know, that they're hard working, getting things settled down up there, because they've only been up there for a month. And you'll see Rupert, but they're keeping track of days here for dear Rupert. The Space Armadillo. This is September 4th, so we're a week beyond this, okay, that he was, he's passed over Cape Canaveral. They're keeping track of how many orbits he's done. All right, so he's probably done about 600 orbits now. Cute little graphic there for the Space Armadillo Rupert. And just go to Cape Canaveral Space Museum and you'll see Rupert pop up there. All kinds of things there with Mr. Jamie Draper, the wonderful director out there. Docked to the International Space Station. This is what the Soyuz spacecraft looks like up close. Our Shuttle Fest 5 is going to talk on Star City Saturday to astronauts. You'll be able to talk to astronauts about what was it like on this. The middle part here, this is the part that gets thrown off in space. Okay, this bulbous part. The middle part, I guess I better point it like this. The middle section here is where they ride to space and ride back to Earth. The service module in the back and this orbital extra room is what they're looking at. Has always been part of this spacecraft that's been tried and true for like 1969. All right. And incredible that they've kept up with the same Soyuz spacecraft. The first one in 67 killed the cosmonaut Komarov, but this is what comes back. This is an extra little room for science and so forth. That's the service module with all the avionics, computers, tanks of this, that, and the other. So very crowded, very cramped. I always like the extra room on this thing. All right, so that's what that looks like. And let's talk about the guys that rode the MS-27 up. Johnny Kim, all right, is the American astronaut. Now, we have terminated our agreement with Russia, okay, that was adopted some 5 or 6 years ago, that a Russian Soyuz would always take up one American, and the Crew Dragon would take up one Russian, at least on there. So Johnny Kim was the last American to go up on this contract with two Russians. Johnny is a rookie. He's been in space right now 155 days, working on his 156th day. They were launched in April 8th, all right. How long are they going to stay up? Well, Soyuz MS-28, this is MS-27 as you see by the number, is set to go up in sometime in November. So they are at the end of their mission at 155 days. And what they worked out was an agreement with Russia, NASA did, that they were going to send up 3 Russians on MS-28. That really tipped the scales of Americans to Russians up there, all right? But now Christopher Williams is going to be a rookie astronaut to go up and be one of the crew replacements here, replacing Johnny Kim. And Christopher Williams, we need another Williams, another astronaut named Williams, okay? Quite a few of them. Me would like to get a Rupert for her birthday. All right, where would Grandpa find one? Well, we'll hook you up with one of our ace viewers, Connie McDaniel. She'll tell you where to get Rupert. All right, she might even be able to help you with that, okay? The photo is mirrored, not the ISS, is what Steve is correcting me on there. Okay, I'll stand corrected on that. Let's see. I was looking, Steve, for you to help me out with the names of the crew 10 and 11 Dragon. Not. All right. Yes. And Steve says that the shop is on the web there to help you out there. All right. We need to get our shop on the web. All right. We've got. There's the 411 there on MS-27, probably coming back in about 2 months. That'd give them 215 days in space. Old Sergey there in the middle has been up there 513 days. And the other guy, Alex, on the right's a rookie. All right. So now let's get to the Americans up there. We've got Xena Cardman. This crew, 11, was launched August 1st. So this is their 41st day in space. Xena Cardman's a rookie with that. Michael Spanky Fink has now accumulated 422 days in space, okay. And Oleg on the right, he's a rookie. And in the middle there, Kim Ya-Yui, he has been up for 182 days on his second mission. I think this is Michael Fink's 4th mission, but he waited 13, 14 years to fly. I think his last expedition was something like 23. This is Expedition 74. So what's going to happen with Crew 12? We got Crew 11. They're just getting their teeth into everything a month. Like I said, Spanky's not unpacked that big duffel bag that's got Rupert in. But when he does, we'll let you see Rupert in the cupola. Crew 12 is scheduled to launch in early 2026. And there's some debate to keep this crew up there for 6 months, maybe as long as 9 months, okay, as long as things are going along. They got 40 days in space right now. We're talking early 2026, maybe February. Would put them at August, September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months. And that's the wheelhouse of when they want to bring people back. For Crew 12, they've not chosen a commander or a pilot yet, but Oleg Artemyev is going to make his 4th trip to space for Russia. He's got 560 days already. And a rookie from France, a part of the European Space Agency, Sophie Adrenot, Adenot, Adenot. She'll be going to space there. And she's a 43-year-old rookie. We'll have a lot of time to talk about her. There is the International Space Station. And let's talk about the Tiangong Space Station there. They've been up 140 days. All right. You've got 2 rookies on the right, and this guy, his 3rd trip to space. No, his second trip. Chen, and Wang up there as Takyonauts. They're probably going to come back mid-October, right at the end of October, um, because early November they usually overlap a couple weeks there. Shenzhou 21 crew is scheduled to launch October 24th. They can give you the date, but the crew is not announced on there. So these guys, 140 days in space, they're starting to think like, wait a minute, I can't leave this here because I got to pack it in a week or two. Let's just pack it now. There's one of the rare pictures of Tiangong, all right, from a crew 2 years ago departing it, okay? And I was going to show you for reference, you've got the two lab modules, okay, where the cargo craft is on one side. You have docked here is the cargo craft. See how it's more cylindrical. On the other side is the crew craft, and that's their main headquarters for avionics and everything in the center. And then going up vertical up and down are the two science labs. Got a lot of power, it looks like it's pulling there, and hard to find a good picture, but there's one laid out there for you like that. All right. So now you know who's in space. There's some outlines, give you an idea of the Tiangong is very small. The International Space Station would span a football field. Look at how much larger our solar panels are. That's why they've got more smaller ones on there. So, all right, let's segue to some current events going on in the news and straighten you out a couple things. Here is all of the asteroids and comets that have been visited in our solar system, okay, by spacecraft. And this one, Lutetia, ahead of me here, is like 60 miles, almost 70 miles by 50 miles wide, all the way down at the bottom there to Chernenko-Jeremovo, that was just a mere 2 miles across, the form at the bottom there. All right, so these are some of the greatest hits of NASA and European Space Agency's exploration. So we know what comets are like and so forth up close now. We've even brought back some samples of them to Earth. So they do not look like this, all right? This is not a James Webb telescope revealing the three-eye Atlas, the mysterious interstellar visitor that you keep getting all these ridiculous things on Facebook about. I'm not getting them anymore because I blocked them. But here is a photograph taken by an amateur astronomer in Europe somewhere. I forget exactly where. This is Comet 3I Atlas. Atlas is the name of the telescope array that discovered it. 3I means the third interstellar object that we've seen. This is a comet from another solar system. The other two did not flare up like this, all right? And it's making a rare and exciting visit, all right? It's way still out past the orbit of Saturn, but it's getting closer. This shows a green comet, sight familiar to astronomers. The green hue comes from carbon, which fluoresces at a certain nanometers when energized by light. But this comet, they do know, has a lot more carbon dioxide. It is one of the most carbon chain poor comets ever. Oh wait, it's one of the most carbon chain poor comets ever observed. But it's mimicking comets in some way, in other ways it's not. It's another solar system. And this is incredible. It's going to be close to Mars in late October. There's another photograph taken by the Gemini multi-mirror telescope on one gigantic mountain. I think this is in Hawaii. But it's starting to get a tail. The other two did not. They were just reflecting light. This could be quite large, like 4 or 5 miles across. So we will get photos of this from the Red Planet, as they will put Perseverance and the other rover will be taking pictures of this as it flies by. I can't wait to see if it could look like a really cool against the landscape on of Mars there. So 2 rovers on Mars, Curiosity and Perseverance, will be photographing this in late October. There is Mars from my buddy Johnny Horn's backyard. That triangle is called Syrtis Major, and the arm going out there, Sinus Sabuus, very easy to see from Earth. And in fact, in the rover Ingenuity, yes, is near this right here. And then thank you, Steve Jokums. Crew 10 is Endurance, and Crew 11 is Endeavor. All right. Thanks for researching that for us. Here is the rover on Mars, okay. Perseverance, okay. I said Endeavor. Perseverance, looking at the clock and trying to get out of here, folks. But knowing I want to get through this because this is really cool. A sample collected from an ancient Martian riverbed by NASA's Perseverance rover after a year of scientific analysis is one of the best indications yet that life once existed on our planetary neighbor. That is the news headline today that NASA's putting out on social media. Perseverance's PIXL and Sherlock, SHERLOC, instruments have confirmed that the sample called Sapphire Canyon right there contains potential biosignatures, which are substances that may have a biological origin, but require more information before providing a conclusion about the absence or presence of life. Of course, they want more, they want more, they want more. When what you're looking at here is maybe a pile of excrement from excuse me, some microbes. 1 second as you ponder that picture. Excuse me there. I'm a serial sneezer if you have one in your family. I sneeze in 3, 6s, or 9s. And when I hit 9, I start gasping for breath. This is what we're talking about. Marty knows. They're not giving a whole bunch of things about this, but like I've said, since the even Viking days in 1976, when they had a positive reading for a life-finding experiment that was later classified as a chemical, not biological, positive reading, there's some scientists inside the inner circle of Mars biology that believe we have found evidence of life. We've not found skeletons. We've not found, we found that you can't have this type of chemicals on Mars without life putting it there. All right, whether it be a horseshoe crab, whether it be but we know Mars was filled with water, had lakes, had rivers. Both rovers are in rivers. One have scoured a riverbed. They're climbing up the side to go to interesting maybe waterfalls that were up there. So it's probably a moral decision more than anything, Marty. Maybe we'll have someone on here that can address that, because we're very convinced that everything, the ingredients for life are on Mars, and they just don't want to. It's a life changer. It's a game changer of a whole lot of things about what we know about ourselves. So that's the big news today on Mars. There's Mars Canals by Percival Lowell, who 100 years ago was popularizing that Mars was a dying planet. He had 4 very popular books that talked about this, and it took to 1964 or 1965 in Mariner 4 to disprove all of this Martian stuff on there. But still, we can dream, can't we? We can dream. Visit the canals of Mars. Take your children there on vacation. And finally, Voyager 1 has been traveling for 48 years, and it'll finally reach 1 light day from Earth. That means it takes a full 24 hours for a signal to be sent to, and they call that a light day. The edge of the Milky Way is 26,000 light years away, okay? But that's sort of an interesting side note that's going on in space history. For the first time in human history, a spacecraft is about to reach a full light day from Earth, launched in 1977. It is an interstellar space. Its twin, Voyager 2, is not too far behind, but it's in a different direction. And so they're thinking that it is traveling at 38,000 miles an hour. All right. And while the idea of a faster than light travel remains realm of science fiction, it's an achievement that, of course, has not ever to be duplicated. And they think it might take 40,000 years to reach the edge of our sun's influence. So there you have it. Stay curious in the books again today. Yeah, let's go visit those Mars canals. Would love to do that, Marty. But we dreamed about it, but it's never going to happen. There might be some water underneath Mars, though, like a cavern in there. So, and yes, Rosalie, she thinks those pterogards could literally be living in space. Those little chubby little roly-poly looking things in there. So thank you all for watching today. And yes, Elena, everybody have a healthy life. Go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the last days, technically, of summer, as fall will be here September 22nd. And tomorrow we're going to have here Carlton Bailey, the one and only. CB will be laying on you his wisdom and info about the Artemis ticket and how many family members are getting in on that. And we'll talk about some missions. One's going to be launched that you were in the clean room about. And we'll talk about that tomorrow with some greatest hits of Carlton's from the month of September. So thank you all for watching today. I'll tell you how Mr. Honeycutt did this evening in front of a good group of space lovers. Marty, thank you for a great Streamlabs job. Anything over there to clean up before I run out of here?
No, sir. We're good to go.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank everybody. Until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us.